Hey guys, welcome back to part 2 of our Django CICD project. And in this part we want to push our project to GitHub, and then we want to create a GitHub runner, and after that we want to configure our virtual private server from DigitalOcean. That's before we push our project to GitHub. I just want to create a new repository from GitHub. I name it like to my two project name, Django project, or sorry, Django action maybe. Yes, that was action, Django action, and create a repository from here. And after that I want to git init. Okay, recognize it exists. Great. Git add. Oh, before we do something else, at the first I just want to create a new file. I name it requirements. This file must to we want to create this file to save all dependency. If I connect to virtual environment from script active, from here, from here pip freeze or pip list, it's not matter. As you can see, we can see the list of the name of our dependency, and we need to have this name because we don't want to manually install all this package. We can push all the package and package version in a file. I name it this file pip freeze requirement.txt. Okay, now it's great. Let's continue. I want to do something else. As you can see, I had create a git ignore file, and in this ignore file, if you ask how you can have these files or this config from git ignore.io, the Django, and as you can see I just copy these files that must not to push to GitHub from here to my website. And this is important, as you can see it's deactive yet. I don't want to push my virtual environment. And now we can git add all, and from here I can check it. Can just want to say at the first maybe commit all file, commit first commit, copy paste it, and then I want to change my branch and then push it to server. It's not working actually. It's great, now it's working correctly and I don't need it anymore. Come down at this time. Okay, as you can see we have now our project in GitHub server. Let's just start to create an action runner. This action will be our YAML file, and if you want to know something more about YAML file or YAML config, is it to YAML file documentation. I had seen something like that. I don't know where file format. I think that was so great. I had a great tutorial about YAML file. Yes, this file format website. you can see more about, and you can read more about YAML file. And then from here I say I want to config Django YAML file. I choose configure from Django. I don't want to change this name. The name of our runner must be YAML file runner Django CI. We don't need a pull request after push. And this is the Python version of our server. At this time I just want to type 3, maybe 10. And this is important. We want to use a virtual private server from DigitalOcean, and we want to run this YAML file in server. We can say just self hosted, and then I come down. We don't need any test, and actually I don't want to install our dependency globally, as it's again like my local machine. I just want to create a on server. I want to create a virtual environment. I can say Python 3 -m v and v e and v, and then from server source, and after source must connect it to server. Maybe source I think is the name again of our virtual environment, bin, and active. I must be something like that. Oh, sorry, it's my bad. We use Linux. Okay, now it's looks better. And it's not active, is activate, and Python 3 -m, and in current directory. Actually it's important to now we have everything now. Okay, let's get to start. I created my first commit. Okay, we have our YAML file, and from action must not work it correctly. I go to settings, and then action runner, and from here I want to create a DigitalOcean project and login as well. Okay, now I just want to create my virtual private server, create droplet, and in our case Ubuntu, just $7 per month, just for test. And in my case Frankfurt, this is the data center, actually is near to me. And this is a SSHK. It's important. If you want to connect to DigitalOcean, you must to configure it. You just need to add your local public key to here. Add a SSHK and copy paste your public key, and then you have SSHK. And here we must to choose a name for our virtual private server, for our server or machine. I just want to say VPS, that was Django action, just want to create it. Take it 3 to 30 seconds. After that, I want to install some config file in our server. Okay, now must be finished actually. Okay, now we have everything. I copy this IP address and I just want to connect to my server power from PowerShell. Let's create new PowerShell. Let's work at top, and then SSR root add server name, fingerprint, yes. And as you can see, we are connected to our server. And from here, and in future, I don't want to connect as a root. I just want to create a new user. I name it add a user, my name, for example, password for this user, and we don't need anything else. And yes, we are confirm the information is correct. And then I go to home, the name of user. From here, I just want to create a new folder. I go to this folder, and now I just want to create a file. I name it authorized K maybe. I check it again. Yes, must be authorized K. It's depend to you. You can change if you want it, but sudo nano authorized K. What you must to paste here actually from your, if you have a Windows, under user SSIK, you must just to copy public K and paste it here. I save this file, and before I log out, I want to give this user, I want to say user mode allow to use sudo. Okay, now I want to log out. This time I want to log in as new user. I name it Mehdi. Okay, it's worked correctly. It's great. And we can actually do something else for security setting. If you don't want anyone connect to your server as a password, it's possible to do some setting. Go to nano it and SSH folder, and from SSH SSH, and then again SSH config the name of the password of user, and from here we can say permit. At the first, nobody don't root admin don't allow nobody allow to connect as a root. And the second, nobody don't allow to connect with password. Password is possible just with SSRK that we are configured. And I want just to save it. Okay, I will do now. Okay, now we want to configure our server for our project, and sudo apt update at the first. Okay, and Python 3 version. As you can see, we are Python 3 version 3.10.4. If you want from action, because I didn't do something else, I just write 3.10. If you want, you can change it to 3.4. It's like your server. And I write pip 3 minus version, and I don't have any pip 3. I can install it. Actually, it's possible to write this config here too. We can say here sudo apt install pip, but I don't want to do that because every time take a time to install it. And another side, when we write a sudo, we must write a password, and it must not to work it. We must to change some setting at the first that work it without sudo work it without any password. Okay. And now I just want to save it again here and come back to my server. Okay, now pip3 version, okay, are installed correctly. It's great. Now what we need anything. Now we are allowed to configure our runner from setting, action, runner. I create a new host runner. I choose my server. In our case is Linux. Let's open it. Okay, now it's better. And we can create a folder. As a default is the action runner. I don't want to change it. And we want to download our zip file from GitHub. I check it if it's worked. Yes, the OK must to be the file. It's not damaged. And then we have this zip file. I want to unzip it. Now, as you can see, we are unzip all the file, and we don't need this zip file anymore. I want to delete it. Okay, great. Now let's configure our runner. GitHub action. It's worked correctly. And I want to choose the default name, and here the name of runner, it's the same name like my virtual private server. If you don't like it or you don't want to it, you can change it, but I want to choose as a default. And from here we must to define the name for our project. As you can see here, all files here must to deploy in work folder. If you want, you can change this name. Actually, work order, it's okay for me. And now we don't want to run. If I use this command line, run my project just for first time, I want to do something else. Sudo at the first. Here, as you can see, we have a bash script file. I want to run it. Sudo and svc bash script. As you can see, this is a usage. You can write again sudo maybe install, start, stop, or status, or uninstall it. I want to install it, and then I want to start it. As you can see, it's active now, and every time if you want to check your action runner, you can just write status. Now status. Okay, great. Now I refresh my site here. It's not working correctly. By okay, I go to action runner. From here I have my job completed. Okay, because here the first here under action runner, okay, ideal, it means it's connected to Salesforce correctly. It's depend to your internet. Actually, I don't have a great internet here. Okay, now maybe take a time. Sometimes it's not working correctly here from digital from action, GitHub action. Let's go to our project here. I check everything is correct. Actually, come back to action. I want to cancel our jobs, and I want to say rerun it our job again. Okay, we're waiting. Actually, it's a bug from GitHub. I'm total sure, because sometimes it's work correctly and sometimes let's do something else here. I just want to say, because run it's not working because we are active our SVS. Okay, no problem. I can't say it. Let's do some change here in our Django YAML, for example. I change this name. Okay, and I go to action again. No, we can't see if it's working correctly. They do not anything else. I want to test some times later. I don't know, I'm sure totally this is a bug from GitHub. Sometimes it's working and sometimes sometimes not working. Okay, build, take your time. Okay, I stop this video and I come back if it's work it after maybe 5 minutes. Now we can check it again. I don't know if it's worked. As you can see, it's worked correctly, and we have everything here. Okay, now it's great. Okay, let's go and let's go to our server. Go, we're going back to our server. Actually, when sometimes it's as I say, it's completely depend to GitHub. Sometimes I don't know, it's depend to your internet or what's wrong actually. Sometimes it's working not correctly. But now, as you can see, it's working correctly. I just want to push. I want to okay. And now I go to CD CD work or my work order and name of my project. Okay, great. And now, as you can see, we are all files and folders here. Okay, now great. Let's to check. As you can see, we are in our from here. At the first, we are create our virtual environment, and then we are connected to our virtual environment and install our requirement file or our dependency from requirement.txt that was here. And maybe if I connect to my virtual environment and if I use pip list, I must be able to see our dependency. As you can see, all packages installed correctly and must be worked. Okay, great. We are at the end of part 2 of our tutorial. Now in part 3 we will want to create our Docker file. We want to run our Django project. We want to configure our Gunicore runner for Django, and then we will put our nginx file in our Docker. And okay, bye bye.